Hello everyone and welcome to this live session. My name is Abonglo Malien Titles and I am a United People Global Sustainability Leader, class of 2021, and I'm part of Tribe 6, which is one of the tribes in the program. And this particular event today is a training session during which I'm going to teach the audience or you people about sustainability leadership. So the title of this session is Decoding Sustainability Leadership. It is not going to be a very long session. It's going to last for 1 hour. And within this 1 hour, we're going to discuss some very, very important issues. First, we're going to have, let me give a rundown through the agenda. We're going to have an opening word, a very brief opening word. We are going to have some information about UPG, which is going to be given to us by Chinenye, who is facilitating this session. We're also going to have the main lesson, which is decoding sustainability leadership, which I'm going to deliver subsequently. Then we are going to continue from there to have some questions and contributions from the viewers and from the audience. After which we're going to have closing remarks and the session will end. So right now, I'm just going to go ahead and give the opening word. So, like I said, the particular aim of this training or of these events today is to train audience or young people like you about sustainability leadership. Now, I as an individual, I've been awarded as a global sustainability leader from United People Global after taking on a 9-week course, which was very intensive. It brought together about 20 different speakers from different walks of life and brought everybody together to really learn about sustainability leadership, during which we were also trained on taking projects and solving problems in communities sustainably using small projects. So when you come, you're just going to go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat section. I'm going to recognize you as you come uh, into the chat into the room. Okay, so more about me. My name's Abongo Malien Daitis. Like I said, I'm the founder and president of Exponential, and Exponential is a youth-led and youth-driven initiative aimed at empowering and engaging young Cameroonians through education and through mentorship. Now, one of the things that we have done, which is our most solid project in Exponential, is called Exponential Clubs. And Exponential Clubs, the aim of Exponential Clubs is to identify high potential students in different schools around Bamenda. When we identify the students, what we do is we connect them to mentors around the African continent as well as around the country. Now that serves the purpose of mentorship in the sense that having a strong sense of career or having a strong sense of direction is very, 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 very important for every single young person. And so because of that, we saw that mentorship was very important. And so we also give these students in these clubs the opportunity to have access to opportunities which could be extracurricular or curricular opportunities that will help them to strengthen their CVs, to get experience outside the classroom, so that by the time they graduate, by the time they leave school, they have some powerful experience that they can actually share, and they have knowledge that they can distribute and dissipate for other people to learn from. All right. So one of equally, one of the aims of Exponential Clubs is to enable students to be involved in civic engagement. And what civic engagement or youth participation simply is giving young people the opportunity or the platform to basically have their voices contribute or to speak or to participate in the process of nation building or in issues that are going on in the country, issues of importance that are happening in the country. So we're giving young people the opportunity to also do that. One of these is through Pass It On, which is a series of events that is going to be coming up and giving young people the opportunity to participate in these things. So that's a little bit about Exponential right there. I'm also the country ambassador of Youth Opportunities, which is a platform based in Bangladesh with the primary aim of helping young people all around the world have unlimited access to opportunities. Most of the opportunities that I was able to obtain were from youth opportunities. And so I applied and also became the global ambassador of Youth Opportunities. I'm equally the first place winner of the Lesson Creator Hackathon and first place winner of the Premier Dev Tech Solutions Challenge. All of these are software engineering competitions. I'm not going to go deep into those. I'm the ambassador as well of Ludenso in Cameroon. Okay, this only ambassador of Ludenso in Cameroon. Okay, I am equally yes, that's about it. More about me, hobbies. I love working out. I recently started playing basketball. I'm not much into it, but maybe hopefully proceed from there. I'm also really, really great in the area of content creation and photography, and that's why this video is streaming on my YouTube channel right now. Okay, so if you're at this point in the video, just go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section so that we can know who is participating and how we can proceed from here. So while waiting on Chininye to go ahead and give us the word about United People Global, which is the organization that is overseeing this particular event, or this event is under the auspices of United People Global. I'm going to go ahead to the main content of this session of today. And the main content of this session is to understand or to decode sustainability leadership. All right. So I'm going to pull my presentation right here. But before I pull up my presentation, I want you to begin to reflect, think about it. What is sustainability leadership? Or what is leadership in the first place? Why should we consider looking at sustainability in the area of leadership? So I want you to just begin to have these questions in your mind right now as we proceed with the events, so that by the time we get to these things, you should have had enough enthusiasm as well as thirst to truly appreciate them and to absorb them. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start decoding sustainability leadership. Now, okay. All right. So we're talking about decoding sustainability leadership, and this program, like I said, this training session is under the auspices of United People Global, which is based in Geneva, Switzerland. Now we're going to discuss three main important things here. The first thing is we're going to understand what leadership is. We're going to understand what sustainability is. We're then going to go ahead to find the relationship between leadership and sustainability, and then we look at a case study, which is a particular project. Okay, so more about me. My name is Abongnomali Titus. I'm commonly known as Mr. Africa. I'm the founder of Exponential, founder of all those things right there. I've been featured in those organizations, and that's not very important for now. But there's one quote that really catches my attention amongst all, and is that I am not African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. That's a quote by Kwame Nkrumah. Okay, first of all, let us understand what is leadership, right? Let's go into it. But before we see what leadership is, let's look at what leadership is not, right? Let's look at the things that antagonize the definition of leadership, or the things that we shouldn't mention while we're discussing about leadership. Now, leadership has nothing to do with position. Is that okay? Leadership has absolutely nothing to do with position. Being the CEO of a company doesn't necessarily make you a leader, or doesn't make you an apt leader. So leadership really has nothing to do with your position. Now, leadership doesn't have anything to do with your personal attributes. Personal attributes are very important. For example, your personality, the tone of your voice, your height, your facial expressions, and all of those things that constitute your personal attributes. Leadership really has nothing to do with them. So you cannot say someone is a leader or is not a leader based on their physical features. Now, some of those features could help you or could ease or complicate the process of or your leadership, but it is also very, very worth mentioning that leadership is not about your personal attributes. So although personal attributes could help in leadership or could impede leadership, they are not necessarily what make up the leadership ability. Okay, so now let's look at a quote from John C. Maxwell about leadership. And he says, leadership is about influence, nothing more, nothing less. That's from John C. Maxwell. So John C. Maxwell says leadership is about influence, nothing more, nothing less. Very interesting one. Let's proceed. Now, a Madagascan proverb says that a boat does not know who the leader is. When it turns over, everyone gets wet. A boat does not know who the leader is. When it turns over, everyone gets wet. Let's proceed. Another one from Sudan says, a large chair does not make a king. So a large chair does not make a king. Let's go ahead. He who thinks he is leading and has no one following him is only taking a walk. That one's from Malawi. He who thinks he is leading and has no one following him is only taking a walk. So those are some quotes about leadership that we should be reflecting upon as we proceed with this session. Now that we have seen what leadership is not, let's go ahead and see what leadership is. Leadership is influence. Leadership is influence. Now, what do I mean by influence? Influencing someone means causing someone to think or to act in a particular way, right? Causing someone to think or to act in a particular way, maybe based on what you have done or what you have said. So leadership is influence. Leadership is a skill, and just like every other skill, it is learnable. Let's say there are many skills. One of the examples of skills that we know is software engineering, for example, or programming. Programming is a skill. It's, a hard skill, right? So leadership is a skill, it is influence, it is action driven and thought provoking. So leadership is all about the action or the thinking process. So if you're a leader and you do not push people to take action, then you cannot truly call yourself a leader. If you're a leader and you cannot cause people to take action, you cannot truly call yourself a leader. So leadership is action driven or thought provoking. Let's proceed. Leadership is vision driven. So you need to have a vision in order to be a leader. You cannot be a leader without a vision. That is not proper. Okay, now in a more subtle way, leadership is service. So being a leader is all about being a servant. When you're elected to be a leader, or when you become a leader, or when you work to become a leader, essentially what you're saying is, I want to become a servant. So leadership is service. Now that we have seen what leadership and we've understood the bits about leadership, let us proceed now to see what sustainability is, right? Sustainability, because we are decoding sustainability leadership. So we've understood what leadership is. Let's now look at what sustainability is. Now, sustainability is maintaining something at a certain rate or a level, right? Maintaining something at a certain rate or a level. What does that even mean? Let's proceed. Now, there's some key aspects that are involved in sustainability. First is that sustainability is all about being future conscious. So it's thinking about the future generations or thinking about future prospects more than current prospects. It's like delayed gratification, for example, if I were to put it that way. Thinking more about the future than about the present. Although you're living in the present and experiencing what is happening in the present, being sustainable is having a future mindset, a future sensitive or a future conscious mindset. Let us proceed. It is having the interest of the masses. Sustainability is having the interest of the masses. So it is about looking at the big picture rather than the localized picture, rather than the small picture, looking at how a particular action will benefit a bigger demographic or a bigger audience more than how it will benefit a small audience. Of course, there's one very particular thing that Yemi Babington Ashaye, who is the president of United People Global, he always mentions. He says, at United People Global, we think global and we act local. So we think in a grand scale, we act local. So you're thinking about serving the masses, right? But then how do you act? You start by acting local, because you cannot think local, or you cannot think local and act global. It's not possible to think small and act big, right? You can always think global and then start acting local. So sustainability is about having the interest of the masses at heart. Now that we have seen what leadership is, and we have seen that sustainability is basically enabling something to live on for a long period of time, or thinking about the future, or how your particular action is going to affect the future. Now let's see how or what sustainability leadership is. And sustainability leadership, in my own terms as I coined it, is influencing people to support a project or goal that is sustainable. Influencing people to support a project or a goal that is sustainable. Let's continue. Now, it is gaining the trust and the attention of stakeholders as well as partners to work together to realize a goal or a project whose effect is going to be long term. So that's a more broken down or a more granulated definition of the word sustainability or sustainability leadership. It is gaining the trust and attention of stakeholders and partners to work together to realize a goal or a project whose effect is going to be long term. And sustainability leadership is also interdisciplinary. What do I mean by interdisciplinary? So what I mean when I say something is interdisciplinary, that means it is not localized, or it is not um it does not only affect or apply within a specific scenario. So sustainability leadership could be applicable in the area of education, it could be applicable in the area of medicine, it could be applicable in the area of transportation, it could be applicable in the area of nature and wildlife conservation, it could be applicable in the area of business management and administration, it could be applicable in almost any field: engineering, artificial intelligence, robotics. So sustainability leadership is applicable in many fields. So it is interdisciplinary. It brings together different concepts from different fields and sees how you can harmonize these concepts to come out with a project or a solution that can address a problem and to create value. So sustainability leadership is interdisciplinary. Let's go back to the previous slide and look at it again. It says it is influencing people to support a goal or a project that is sustainable, supporting a goal or a project that is sustainable. Okay, and we also see that it is gaining the trust and the attention of stakeholders and partners to work together to realize a goal or a project whose effect is going to be long term. So the effect of the project is going to be long term. So now let's look at different aspects within that particular definition. Let's look what is the leadership aspect of this definition: gaining trust and attention. Right? When you gain someone's trust and attention, you can influence that person. So the first part of this definition alerts us about what trust and attention, which is leadership. And then now it talks about it, sustainability, in the sense that it says that bringing people together or whatever to work on a goal or a project whose effect is going to be long term. The effect of that thing is going to be long term. That is when it is sustainable. If the effect of a particular endeavor, activity, or engagement is not long term, then there's no way that we can coin that particular activity, engagement, or event as a sustainable event. Now, we also have to mention that it is interdisciplinary, as I earlier said. Okay, so we're going to have a case study right now so that we can have a practical understanding of what sustainability leadership is really all about. Now, this is my project that I'm working on, Exponential Clubs. And so let's go ahead and look at it. Okay. Let me add a few people to the stream. All right, so we have a few persons who have just joined us right now. Chinyenye Anekwe has joined us from Nigeria. She's going to facilitate this session. So after we have analyzed this particular case study, she's going to come with or a brief summary about what United People Global is really all about and what areas of intervention they are involved in. All right, so let us proceed and see and analyze a particular project, which is my project that I'm working on, which was my project at United People Global, and it's one of the projects that I'm currently working on. Okay, so let me share the screen here for a bit. Excuse me there. Okay, so this right here is my project that I submitted for to be certified as a United People Global Sustainability Leader. Now, and some of the key aspects that I want to observe here are the things that you have to take into consideration while you are working on your project, while you are developing a project. And understand that sustainability leadership is all about project, right? Sustainability leadership is all about taking action. Like we mentioned, gaining the trust of stakeholders and partners to work together on a particular goal and realize some some progress, or to realize some success, right? which is long term, of course. That is why it is sustainable. That is what makes it sustainable. So, sustainability leadership is all about taking action. If action is not taken on a specific issue, then there's no way that we can call that leadership sustainable. There's no way we can term it a sustainable form of leadership. Okay, so let's go ahead now and observe some of the key aspects that have to be taken into consideration while developing a project or a sustainable project, while coming out with a sustainable project. Okay, those who have just joined right now, welcome. We have observed some of the I've already had an introduction as well as a briefing of what the session is going to look like today, and it's not going to be a very long session. It's very brief. I'm going to finish speaking about this project, this case study project, and then Chinenye is going to talk to us about United People Global and see how we can get involved as leaders and as young change makers in our various ends through projects, of course. All right. So let me go ahead and give a shout out. So hello to Levi. Thank you for joining us. Hello to Bless. Thank you for joining us. Casey, thank you as well for joining us. Patricia as well as Cliveto. Thank you so much. Sham is here. Blessing is here. Chinenye is here. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We appreciate all of your presence in general. Okay, so let's analyze this. Now, first of all, the most important thing why having a project, why starting a project is being able to describe your project, right? Being able to describe your project. But before you describe your project, first of all, you have to see what issue, okay, what community problems or what community local problems you are solving. So we start here. What are the problems or the needs that you have to solve? Now, this is very important in the sense that you cannot have a project that solves no problem. You cannot have a project that solves no problem. Then you might just possibly a waste of time. You just dump that thing in the trash and proceed with your life. So if you have a project, you have to ask yourself, what is the problem that your project has to solve? Or first of all, you have to identify a problem before you even devise a project to solve that problem. So you have to identify a problem in your community, a problem in the society, a problem within your job environment, a problem within your school environment, a problem somewhere, right? A need, and then you develop a project to solve that problem. So you have to understand what the need is, what the problem is with the project. So but let's get a little bit about exponential clubs before we move down to that. So describe the project. Exponential clubs is the action-driven unit of exponential aimed at working in close collaboration with students in secondary schools to empower and engage them through mentorship, exposure to opportunities and competition, as well as valuable concepts as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And the theory of change is that if you can enable students to build their academic and personal capacities through exposure to opportunities, then there will be an increase in youth participation in civic engagement as well as nation building and development, as well as a reduction in the rate of unemployment in Cameroon. So you have to have that. It's like a brief outline of your mental uh, scope, right, of your project. So that has to be there. So when you have that, you identify the problem that your project solves, and then you go ahead now to identify what sustainable development goal your project works under or pertains with. Now, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are 17 goals that were selected, of course, by the United Nations in 2015 to address global issues and cause the world to become a better place to live in by the year 2030. So the expiry date of these Sustainable Development Goals is 2030. Okay, so 2030, which means that this project it doesn't exceed or the Sustainable Development Goals expire essentially after 2030. So the vision of exponential clubs is to now exponential clubs work within SDG number 4. So you have to identify what sustainable development goal your project addresses. Now, when that happens, or when you identify that, you continue now to see what values and what UPG pillar your project addresses. Shinya is going to talk to us about the UPG pillars. There are 4 of them. Is the ABCs. So is the acceptance, belief, collaboration, and community. I think I'm missing that first one a little bit. Awareness, yes, awareness, belief, collaboration, and community. Chinye is going to talk to us more about it. So you have to find your values, and a value is generally something that you find important or that you consider important and you prioritize in a particular endeavor, right? So you have to identify your values. In this case, the values of exponential clubs is personal and career development, civic engagement, community impact. So those are the three main values. Those are the things that we really find important in exponential clubs. Okay, so we then continue now to find the stakeholders. Stakeholders are people that are going to be involved in the achievement of a project. Now, understand that when you have a project and you do not have stakeholders, your project cannot get off the ground. So you have to identify what stakeholders you need to engage. You have to understand what stakeholders you need to engage in your project. And so some of the stakeholders for exponential clubs is parents, school administrations, Ministry of Youth and Civic Education in Cameroon. We have mentors in different fields who are professionals. Of course, these are the people, or these are the individuals that are going to work together or that are going to be involved in the achievement of this project. And then, like I said, the community need or the problem, that is something that you also have to identify. Violent extremism, I talked about violent extremism here. I talk about social vices. I move forward to see how um okay, so it's not like I didn't mention that as such I intend not only to address the problem within my immediate community but eventually in the whole country, given enough support and partnership. So it's a project that is going to run through the whole country, but then it starts from the community. So like I said, think global, act local. Okay, so when you have identified the problem or the need that you have to solve, you now identify your goal, your desired outputs, right? So what is the output? What is the outcome at the end of running your project? What do you want to see, right? So the output has to be specific. So we have outputs, outcomes, and impact. Now understand that outputs and outcomes are a little bit short term, right? Short term, but then impact is long term. That's what makes the project sustainable, right? So I start by mentioning the various outputs, which you can see here. All students have an extension opportunity. This is one output. So all students in the clubs will have extension opportunities, right? We talk about all students have tested and proven to have preliminary knowledge on the SDGs, the United Nations SDGs. At least a competition has been organized and participated in. Interested students should have uh, an income generating skill, which is one of the things that we're also looking to incorporate into exponential clubs. And then in the long run, so those are the short term outputs and outcomes. Now, in the long run, there's going to be a curb in violent extremism, there's going to be a reduction in unemployment, and then there's going to be a society where young people are involved in nation building. Of course, this particular, the last one, is a very, very long term goal and it looks into the far future. So, when you identify your goals, your outputs, outcomes, and impact, what you then proceed now to do is to see what assets the community has that can support your project. What assets does the community have that can support your project? So right here, the community has young people. Young people can serve as mentors. Young people can serve as facilitators in these clubs. Young people can serve as trainers in this club. The community has schools, secondary schools, and administrations. So I don't have to create a school and an administration to have a club. I just move to a school and I establish a club there for this particular purpose. So uh local drink brewery companies. Now, these are companies that are going to help students to have externship opportunities, or that students are going to exercise their externship opportunities there. So this is just one of them. Of course, there are different companies or different local companies, but this is one of the companies that is going to assist as an asset to this project. So the first stage is complete, right? So the first thing is the vision, description of the project, the values, UPG pillar, the stakeholders that will need to be engaged, the community needs, the desired outcomes, outputs, and goals, and impact, the community assets that can support the project, and then we move now to the strategies. The strategies is where we are thinking more about action, right? More about action. Now, the strategy of or the strategies of the project have to do with how to make the plan come to life. So what steps will you take to make your project take place? Now, I'm going to share this template definitely at the end of this presentation. It's going to also be available in the comment section below. So if you're watching this video on YouTube right now, just make sure you check in the comment section. The link to this template is going to be available there, and you might have access to it. Of course, I'm going to check with the UPG team before I give you this. But you have to also understand what steps you take to make your project come to pass. So First of all, I intend to meet school administrations and communicate the problem with them, and then gain their interest in the idea, obtain partners, progress with establishing clubs, and then invite volunteers and prepare lessons, or invite volunteer youth to prepare lessons. So this is the series of activities, or the step of, or the sequence of activities that is going to take place for this project to be effectuated. Now you have to also take consideration. You have to also understand the dates. Time is very important in the accomplishment of a project. If a project is not time bound, if a project is not bound by time factors, then it is just open and loose, and you never really achieve the project. So time is important in creating that sense of urgency, or those bounds that you need to to establish your project, to make your project work. So we establish clubs by July 1st. We connect mentors and all of this. So time is important. So these are the resources that we need for the clubs: computers, modems, projectors, whiteboards, and whatever. So these are resources that are needed. You have to also understand what resources you need for your project, because you cannot jump into a project without having a clear and concise um, map of what resources you need. Else, well, then what are you doing? What do you need for what you're doing? And that's why you just drop that and go to bed. Okay, so who will you engage to support your work? Now, this is a little bit more like the stakeholders in the project, but then it's a lot more specific. So we're talking about school administration, we're talking about PTS Jeune, that's a program in Cameroon here. We're talking about the Ministry of Youth and Civic Education. You can see this school administration and Ministry of Youth and Civic Education, they've appeared twice. So it's kind of almost the same thing with slight differences. Okay, still under the area of strategies, we now move forward to see um what information and assistance is needed. So these are questions that you should put in your mind, or you should have, or you should write them down while establishing your sustainable project. Understand that these questions at the end of the day are going to verify whether or not your project is sustainable. For example, if we look at this section right here, desired output, outcomes, and impact, it clearly makes us to understand that this project is going to be sustainable because it mentions impact, right? It is going to live long, it's going to be long term. Okay, information assistance is needed. Are there other partners that you think you could work with? Also, this has also been mentioned here. People that you could engage in your project, but then you have to go more in depth with it. How much time do you need? So a project has to be time bound. Are you going to execute the project in 10 weeks, or in 2 months, or in 1 week? There's some projects that can be executed in as long as 10 years. Exponential Clubs really has no end date of execution. So we are going to keep establishing clubs in different schools, and as many schools come up, the more the clubs come up. So we keep establishing clubs depending on the number of schools that are available. Schools don't really end, or if we establish and exhaust all schools in the town of Bamenda, then we are going to expand to other towns. Of course, this is something that's going to happen in the long run. Okay, but we need 7 months to completely establish the clubs in 10 secondary schools in Bamenda. So this is the specific, at this particular, at this starting moment, this is a time bound aspect of the beginning of the project. So we are targeting 10 schools. We are looking at 7 months to work that out. How you know you have successfully accomplished this step? So it's essential to give factors or determinants that tell you, okay, job well done. It's like when you play a game and you get to the end, you don't just, the game doesn't just, it doesn't just stop or whatever. It actually alerts you or makes you understand that you have gotten to the end of the game. Okay, so how will you know that you have completed this step? What are the factors, or what are the determinants that are going to alert you that you have completed your project? So some of the things that we have is that when all students have a mentor, right? So that there's going to alert us, okay, the first mentorship aspect of the project has been completed. All students have an extensive opportunity in local companies. The extensive aspect of the project has been put into consideration. All students have been tested and proven to primarily have knowledge on the SDGs. So these are minor goals, or these are outcomes and outputs that we did mention up here. We talked about tested and proven to have preliminary knowledge on the SDGs. Now it's appearing again down here. So all these are things that you need to take into consideration. So a competition has been organized. So these are the matrices that we use to qualify the progress of the clubs. So that was a template that is necessary to help us understand sustainability leadership in terms of project development, or in terms of project design and construction. Okay, let's move back to the presentation, and then before we eventually round off. Okay, a little bit there. So we were someone's around here. Okay, good. So we have had a case study about a particular project in the area of sustainability leadership, which is Exponential Clubs. That's my project. Okay, so there's this quote from Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Ngugi wa Thiong'o is an African writer based in Kenya, and he mentions that your own actions are a better mirror of your life than the actions of all your enemies put together. So that is to tell us as leaders, as young people, that our actions have power, our decisions have power. What we decide to do at the end of the day has more power than a combination of the actions or the decisions of the enemies that are against us, or enemies that are working against us. So your life is a reflection of the actions that you take, simply put, at the end of the day. Okay, thank you so much for listening to that presentation. You can find me on Facebook on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as Abongdo Titles, as well as you can find our page at Exponential. Okay, great. So if we can have Chinyenye right now, she's going to discuss about United People Global and give us an idea about what the organization is all about, as well as the involvement of the organization. Chinyenye, can we have you now?
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, Titus. Hi, everyone that I can see on my screen. It's a good evening from this part of the world. I hope we're all doing well, and then happy Sunday to everyone. Thank you very much, Titus, for that very great background to what we're just going to be talking about. So, in the next few minutes, just give me your attention while I take you through what UPG and UPGSL is all about to further buttress what Titus has taken us through. So, Titus, okay, here, I want to share my screen. Yep. Yeah. So, can you all see my screen?
Um, okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can now. I put on the
Okay,
live
great.
stream.
Okay, great. So, yeah, I'm just going to be talking about sustainability, UPG sustainability leadership. And just to say in a nutshell, UPGSL for short form is just all about positive leadership. So by the time I'm done with this, you'll actually understand how Titus was able to get to where he is, and then all the things he's actually explaining to us already. And then how you yourself, you will also be able to key into this to either begin your own sustainability journey or to sharpen your own sustainability journey. My name is Chinenye Anekwe, and I am a Nigerian. I work as a project manager with Solar Sister Nigeria. And then I'm also a UPG champion. So let's proceed. So I'm just going to be running us through UPG and UPGSL. I'm going to be taking us briefly through sustainability and the UPG 4 pillars. And then we're going to be having interaction based on some questions, and we're just going to be taking it further from there. It's going to be highly interactive. Okay, so what's UPG and what's UPGSL? So UPG, that's United People Global. It's a community that encourages and enables young people to participate in making the world a better place simple. Encourages young people to participate in making the world a better place. And then this is achieved through various means, and especially with the SDGs, that's the Sustainable Development Goals, as the flag, as the landmark, as the anchor of every activity that they are carrying out, that is being carried out at UPG. So UPG works by raising awareness, strengthening belief, facilitating collaboration, and fostering community. And we're going to be understanding all those and why further. So, but what is UPGSL? Just as I mentioned earlier, is just about positive leadership. Now, we already have this group of young people here and there that have many ideas that they can do a lot of things in order to make the world a better place. But sometimes they don't really know how to start. They need to be coached, they need to be mentored into getting the desired change that they envisage for their various communities. So that is what UPGSL does in a nutshell. So there are various activities as being there are various activities at UPGSL, and then the first step to this is training UPGSL, like myself, like Titus, like many others, about 500 of us in this 2021 cohort. And then what is sustainability in a nutshell? I'm just going to be adding to what Titus has said. Now, it's just all about ensuring that the future generations, they have at least same, let's not even start talking about having more access, but at least same access to opportunities and resources that we already have here. So we're not looking at, I know nobody is actually looking at a situation where you are better than your children, and if that's the case, then the least we can actually lay for this future generation is ensuring that they have access to at least what you heard. But of course, I know what we had is not good, what we're having is not so wonderful, but the least we can do is to ensure that they didn't meet a zero planet, that there's no place for them to exist. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell about what UPG and UPGSL is. All right, so at UPG, we believe that everyone can do something, right, to create a sustainable world. The mantra is nothing is too big, nothing is too big, nothing is too small. So we're going to be exploring together some of the things that I learned as part of my training as a UPGSL champion at UPG. So those are basically what I'm going to be sharing with us in this session. So come with me on this journey. So one of the things I learned more in depth, it's not as if I've not heard the word sustainability. It's not as if I've not been working on sustainability project, but one of the things that I was able to deepen is the term sustainability. It's a rare global agreement. You can remember the MDGs, that's the Millennium Development Goals, and now we're talking about the SDGs. So what do you know about the SDGs, right? I know a lot of us on this call will already know what SDGs is all about, but in case you don't know, they are the 17 areas that the world came together in 2015 to see if we can put A, B, C, D, E in place, the world is going to be a better place. Just simply put, it's an agreement that the whole world entered into in order to make the world a better place. And then they call it Sustainable Development Goals. Okay. The SDGs, they are rare agreement, and then they mean two things. Number one, sustainability includes many things, and whatever area of activity you are in, there's a contribution that you're making to sustainability. There's a contribution that you're making to future. And secondly, the whole world has agreed that we want a sustainable world. Just as I said earlier, it's an agreement that the whole world came together in 2015 to agree into. Okay, so UPG has 4 pillars based on the SDGs. Recall that when I started, I said that the driving force, the anchor, the flag of whatever UPG does is taken from the SDGs. And then from this, the UPG came up with 4 pillars that are going to assist sustainable actions. And one of it is awareness. So awareness is bringing people to the realization that, hey, this is possible. Whatever we're seeing right now, whatever global or community or local challenge that we're facing at the moment, it's possible for us to have a change. So, and then when people find out that it's possible, and then people will start thinking about what are the various ways that we can actually do this and make it happen. And then the next pillar is belief. Yes, we can. I know we all know that popular slogan, right? Yes, we can, from the former president of America, Barack Obama. It moves before this moves one beyond I know. It moves to beyond, oh, I just get to learn, to saying I believe, really. I believe that personally I am capable of making an impact. I am enough to make a tiny change, no matter how little it is. And then at that point, you start thinking about, how do I get this done? And then you start thinking about, oh, I need to work together with people. Let me look for like minds that we can collaborate together in order to get this done. And that's why we start talking about developing champions initiatives, okay, at the United People Global. And then the last is community. To be honest, the journey to changing the world and making the world a better place is a daunting one. There are a lot of obstacles on the road because you're going to be interacting with systems. So at some point, if you're just alone, you may have a way of losing it. You may have a way of thinking that I can no longer do this. It's like I lied to myself in the first place. But when you think about the community, oh, I am not alone. It fosters a sense of like you having people from all over the world. I'm in Nigeria. Titus is in Cameroon. We have a lot of people from all over the world. And then you can say, oh, I have this community. I have people I can reach out to find out how they are navigating some of these challenges. I'm not really alone. I have a lot of people that will share same sense of purpose on this. I'm going to give us a very brief example on community. So just as I said, I work with Solar Star Nigeria. So currently I focus on improving rural energy access and women economic empowerment. So by the time I came on, I started my UPG SL classes. I discovered that there are a lot of people that are working on raw energy access. Now, this is a terrain that I've worked in for over 5 years. But there are still daunting challenges that we've not been able to overcome. I came into the team and then I met a lot of people that are also working on the same SDG. Now, I can easily fall back to those people to find out they may not be from Nigeria as I am, but I can find out to see what is happening in order to accelerate it in other countries and what can we adapt. And other people can also rely on me to say, hey, how can we get this done? Same goes for women economic empowerment. So that's what community does for us. So the four UPG pillars are simply the A, the B, and the double C's. So it's A, B, C, C. So it's very easy for all of us to get to know. So I've said a lot of things. I don't know, Titus, how this interactive session is going to look like, but I want to bring up a few sustainability issues, and then let's discuss it together. But at the end of this activity, you will we want to know whether you feel that you can use the four pillars that I've just mentioned to take sustainability action. Okay. So some of the global challenges I'm going because I listed more, but let me just focus on this four here. Okay, yeah, let's focus on this four. So one of them, which is almost a trending challenge right now, is climate action. The destruction of the nature. How do you think that we will be able to tackle this challenge in a sustainable way? Peace and justice, war, conflict, and refugees. I mean, almost every country currently is experiencing one form of conflict, one form of war, and others. What of poverty? Oh, it's everywhere. What of hunger? Almost everywhere. So, can we discuss? How do you think, looking at these are daunting, these are big issues, but how do you think that we can start tackling these issues from the grassroots level, from where you are at the moment. So, Titus, I don't know how this is going to work. I would actually prefer an interactive session. Does this work? Can people use the chat box? Something?
Yes, they definitely can. But we're going to improvise here because I envisaged a simple question and answer session at the end of the day. But it seems like this is something that we have to discuss about. We can't
Yeah, I
talk
just
about
want to ensure. Yeah,
without
I just want to be assured that
discussing
people can
specific.
have a practical grasp on what we are
Exactly,
talking about.
exactly. All right, so you can lead with the example of climate change or climate action.
Just choose anyone. Choose anyone. I don't want to limit anybody. Just choose anyone and then talk about it. Probably
Did you
on the
get me
chat
there?
box. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you
Can
can you just
anyone
come
hear
again?
me?
Looks like I lost you. Can you come again?
Yeah, I said, and so anybody is free to choose any of these global sustainability issues and just let us know how you think that we can start working towards solving these challenges in a sustainable way. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, we can get you.
Yeah, so please feel free to use the chat room. Can we just a point or two is enough? Can we just use like the next 60 seconds to do this? The next 60 seconds, like the next 1 minute. Let's see what we are able to come up with on the chat room. Remember that we are attempting, and then the world has been attempting to solve these global issues till date. But most times, the actions that are taken are just short-term actions that is just able to do something today, and then there is no lasting impact. So think about it in a long-term way, in a sustainable way. What are some of the actions that can be taken to solve these things in a more sustainable way? 5:52 p.m. Nigerian time. So I'm looking at like 5:53 p.m. I can't really see the chat box Titus.
It's right there. I don't know why I don't see that. Okay.
Probably because I'm just sharing my screen. Does somebody want to talk?
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, blessing here.
A blessing.
All right,
Okay.
to talk about I'll simply just go on and no poverty. Yeah. So concerning poverty, I think that a sustainable way of like solving the issue of poverty, like Titus said, you should probably you could start small but always think big. And as it goes with sustainability, something that solves even in the future. Like it should be a long term. You should have a long term goal also. So I think that to come or to curb poverty, we could start by using even our basic talents because I think everyone, and I believe everyone is born with a talent. So you could use your basic talents to gain something. Like some people are already having the opportunity of being born in places where, let's say, farming is the main activity, but because the of the ideology that I see farming as a let's say a job for the poor, I believe with
Mm,
that mentality they can't really walk ahead with it. But for me, I really see farming as a great income gaining activity. So if they could make good use of that, make good use of your environment and things, basic things you have around you. We have fibers around which we could use to produce things. And even if you're not capable of having, let's say, networks or network connections that could probably help you to gain some of these skills online, yeah, we have our hands. You get just keep trying because most people have probably given up on solving a problem because they've tried and it's failed. So it's just like an
mm,
encouragement that the more you make mistakes, I bet you that's the best thing you will learn because when you finally come up with it, oh, it's super nice. So it's just for us to use what we have as talents, no matter who is watching you, care less about your audience, but be careful about your audience at the same time. So it's just
Hmm.
using your basic talents, then keeping up with it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blessing. I love that. Caring less about your audience, but also being careful about them. Thank you very much. So, does any other person have something else to say? There are actually a lot of things that Blessing pointed out, and which is almost so true. Like I'll let me start with what she mentioned. A lot of people think that farming is a poor man's job. That's the level of their awareness, right? And that's what they believe. So, but for you to even start having a change of mind, to start going into farming as a route to working on this SDG, then there need to be an awareness to say, like Blessing said, I don't believe it's a poor man's job. Is a poor is something that only poor men do, right? And then that awareness comes in, and then your belief system start changing. Also, and Blessing also mentioned something that a lot of people have dropped out of several initiatives because they feel that it's difficult. I'm not pulling through, but there's actually a pillar that is going to assist you not to give up, because when you're giving up, there's somebody that is there holding you accountable. Thank you very much, Blessing. I don't know if we still have so much time. Okay, let me talk about, these are very global issues. No matter how global they are also very local. These are things that we see. Probably you get out of your gate, you get out of your street. These are things that are very, very glaring to us. But let me talk about some more local issues. Let's see if those resonate also. So these are also some local issues that relate to sustainability. Unemployment. Can you check the share of youth in your country, in your community, before you even start talking about country? Because I personally want to change. I actually want to institute change one place at a time, starting from my local environment. So, can you check your local environment? How many unemployed youths? In fact, your siblings, eh? I think starting with your siblings is going to be a more easier and a more practical way. How many of your siblings, how many people that are related to you, cousins and relatives, youths that are unemployed? Quality of education, reduced inequality. Gender equality is everywhere. Corruption, that's the hallmark or the second name of so many nations today. These are some of the local challenges that are related to sustainability. So, what does a more sustainable community look like in your own community in each of these areas? Now, I just want you to start thinking about it. Okay, just start thinking about it. What does a more sustainable community look like in the context of these things that I've just mentioned? Now, if you solve unemployment, what is it going to realize? It's going to realize lots and lots of things. Number one, people are empowered, and then they are able, there's zero hunger, there's zero poverty, right? And then people are able to, in fact, poverty also make people to be sometimes irresponsible, because you can't be talking to somebody that have not been able to see, um how do I even say, they have not really seen what to eat, and then you're talking about do we stop. Let me use a very typical example from what I do, right? About clean and affordable energy. Now somebody don't even have money to eat, and then you're talking about, can you stop using candles, can you stop cooking with traditional methods, can you switch over to solar? Can you switch over to clean cooking? Hey, where will that person get that kind of money? That person is
Yeah.
still looking for money to buy
Let me interrupt
fish.
you a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, we have just a couple of minutes to the end of this session. This session was supposed to
Okay.
last for an hour, and so we have already pushed in 6 o'clock. So you can just really hurry up there and round off.
Okay, great. So yeah, what does a more sustainable society look like in the light of these things I've just mentioned? So Titus had already shared his project with you because he's a sustainability leader. These are the things that UPGSL taught us about. They taught us how to design sustainable projects. They taught us everything that I have told you right now, right? Or they sharpened our knowledge in that. So please, according to the projects that Titus his project that Titus has already shared with us, you are going to have the link. So please go there, make comment, give feedback from what you've learned from this session on how Titus can actually better his projects. Okay, now take action, continuing to take action. These are the things that UPGSL teaches everyone. Okay, and then when talking about taking action, you need to talk about the theory of change, defining your stakeholders and everything that, and then how do you mobilize resources for your project. These are the things that Titus has already talked about. Finally, my final words is, anyway, to start with, I hope that you enjoyed this session. I hope you were able to take out a little, one or two from these. But my final word is, nothing is too big or too small to creating a sustainable change. So take action today. Your action counts, your action matters. Okay. Wrap up session. How do somebody will now say, oh, Chine, you've mentioned UPG. How do one join? These are you can choose to be a UPG member. You can choose to be a UPG champion. If you believe in whatever thing I've mentioned about concerning sustainability, you can quickly sign up to be a UPG member. But if you want to go the extra mile to take action, then you are welcome to be a UPG's champion. Just follow any of these social media handles and then you get that done. Okay, so that's just what I've just explained. Follow these handles here and then you can just get that done. Okay, so thank you very much, and let's continue to contribute to positive citizen leadership in our various communities. And then we await you at UPG, so that, just as Blessing said, you are not discouraged on the way, so that you add more tools to your toolkit, and you also reshape some of the ideas that you have on working on sustainability. Thank you very much for having me.
Please, can we just put our hands together for Tinyere right there? That was a really wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Tinyere.
Thank you.
Let me give a little bit more of context about her. She's one of my tribe members. So in United People Global, we consider ourselves a family as much as we consider ourselves colleagues. So we have these little groups in which we have been grouped called tribes, and we help each other through the journey of sustainability leadership, working on our projects together, and seeing how to achieve success in different areas together. So the way she has spoken, I'm sure you guys have already gotten the vibe that she comes with. She comes with a conscientious vibe. She comes with a powerful vibe. She comes with a mastery of the subject. And so I'm really honored to have met Chinenye, to come across you, and we maybe meet in person, and have organize more wonderful events like this to train young people. So United People Global is a very big family that is always welcoming and ready to receive anybody from any field of life. Like I said, sustainability leadership is interdisciplinary. Being a doctor, or being an engineer, or being a scientist, or just these big things. No matter who you are, you can be a sustainability leader, and United People Global can assist you through that. So I'm going to put a couple of links in the description, uh, so that you're going to follow, you talk with the UPG team, and you get basically involved. So that was it for today's session. I hope that we have successfully decoded sustainability leadership. And if we haven't, and you have further questions that you wish to ask, this video is available on YouTube. You go ahead and leave your questions in the comment section. I'm going to respond to them. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, Epifania. Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you, Chinenye. Thank you who has just left. Thank you to every person who has attended this session. And at the end of the day, the most important question that we should ask ourselves, like Martin Luther King Jr. says, the most important and urgent question that we should ask ourselves every day in life is, what are we doing for others? what are we doing for others? Sustainability is about putting the interests of the masses in front of your own individual interests. So thank you so much, and that was it for this session. Everybody have a nice day. Goodbye,
Thank
blessing.
you.
Goodbye, Chine.
Thank you.